The sun was still high above the quiet neighborhood when one careless joke unexpectedly changed the direction of two lives forever. I had laughed as I tossed the words into the air, never imagining they would uncover a secret someone had carried in silence for years. Sometimes life doesn't announce its biggest turning points with dramatic music or flashing lights. Sometimes they arrive on an ordinary afternoon, disguised as a harmless sentence, waiting to reveal a truth powerful enough to heal old wounds and rewrite the future. That afternoon began like every other weekend, but by sunset, I understood that kindness has a way of finding us when we least deserve it, and love often begins not with perfect timing but with honest hearts. Before we continue, if you believe that kindness, forgiveness, and second chances can change someone's life, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this story with someone you care about, and subscribe to Heartline Stories. Your support helps us bring more heartfelt stories that remind the world hope is never truly lost. At 28, Rowan Mercer had become an expert at pretending everything was fine. Friends admired his steady career as an architectural designer, co-workers respected his calm personality, and neighbors always saw him smiling whenever he walked his aging golden retriever through the park. What nobody noticed was how exhausted he had become from carrying responsibilities that never seemed to end. After losing both parents within 4 years, Rowan had quietly stepped into the role of protector for his younger sister, Mira. He paid her college tuition, helped with rent whenever she struggled, celebrated every small victory, and made sure she never felt alone. Yet in taking care of everyone else, he had forgotten how to care for himself. Mira had recently graduated and started working as a physical therapist. Her cheerful personality attracted people wherever she went, and one of those people was her closest friend, Serena Hale. Serena had known Mira since university, and over the past year she had become a familiar face at family dinners, birthday celebrations, and weekend gatherings. Rowan admired her gentle nature without thinking much beyond that. She was thoughtful, intelligent, and had an infectious laugh that somehow made every room feel warmer. Still, he had never imagined there could be anything more than friendly conversations between them. One bright Saturday afternoon, Mira invited Rowan to help move a few boxes into Serena's newly rented townhouse. Serena had finally saved enough money after years of working double shifts at a children's rehabilitation center. The house wasn't large, but sunlight poured through every window, making the modest rooms feel welcoming. Fresh flowers sat on the kitchen counter, cardboard boxes lined the hallway, and the scent of homemade lemonade filled the air. It was obvious she had worked hard to build a peaceful place she could finally call home. Hours passed as the three of them unpacked furniture, assembled shelves, and laughed over forgotten memories from college. By late afternoon everyone was tired but satisfied. Rowan leaned against the kitchen counter, wiping sweat from his forehead, while Serena thanked him repeatedly for spending his weekend helping. Trying to lighten the mood, Rowan grinned and joked that after carrying so many heavy boxes, maybe he deserved to stay the night instead of driving back across town. He expected laughter, maybe a playful comment from Mira. Instead, something entirely unexpected happened. Serena's cheeks turned bright red. She looked down at the floor for a long moment before quietly admitting that if he ever truly needed a safe place to stay, her home would always be open to him because she had never forgotten everything he had done for her, even though he probably didn't remember doing any of it. The room fell strangely quiet. Rowan stared at her in confusion. He searched his memory but couldn't recall helping Serena in any meaningful way before she became Myra's friend. Yet Serena's eyes held the unmistakable expression of someone speaking from years of gratitude rather than simple politeness. She explained that nearly 8 years earlier, before either of them knew one another personally, she had been a frightened university student working evenings at a grocery store while trying to care for her seriously ill mother. One rainy evening she had accidentally dropped her wallet in the parking lot. It contained her tuition money, grocery budget, identification, and nearly every dollar she owned. She had searched for hours before giving up in tears. The next morning an envelope arrived at her apartment. Every dollar was still inside. There was no reward requested, no note asking for recognition, only a small handwritten message saying that everyone deserves a little kindness because tomorrow it might be us who needs it. She had kept that note ever since. Years later, when Mira introduced her older brother, Serena immediately recognized the handwriting on an old birthday card Rowan had signed. She realized he was the stranger who had unknowingly rescued her family from disaster. She wanted to thank him countless times but never found the courage. Instead, she quietly admired the man who had helped someone expecting nothing in return. Rowan listened in stunned silence. To him, returning a lost wallet had never seemed important enough to remember. It was simply the right thing to do. Yet hearing how that small act had changed another person's life reminded him that goodness often travels farther than we ever realize. Over the following weeks, something shifted between them, not into rushed romance, but into genuine friendship built on honesty and mutual respect. Rowan discovered Serena volunteered every Saturday teaching art to children recovering from serious illnesses. Serena learned Rowan secretly paid for neighborhood food drives each winter without attaching his name. Both had spent years helping others while quietly ignoring their own loneliness. Life, however, rarely allows happiness to arrive without testing it first. Only months after moving into her townhouse, Serena learned the children's rehabilitation center where she worked was facing severe budget cuts. Several therapy programs were scheduled to close, leaving dozens of families without affordable care. She watched parents struggle to hold back tears as they realized they might lose essential treatment for their children. At the same time, Rowan's architectural company announced layoffs after losing a major contract. Overnight, the stability he had relied upon disappeared. Bills piled up, uncertainty crept into every morning, and for the first time since becoming responsible for Mira, he feared he might fail the people depending on him. Instead of retreating into despair, Serena reminded him of the lesson he himself had unknowingly taught years earlier. Kindness given freely has a way of returning when we least expect it. Inspired by that belief, Rowan volunteered his design skills to help transform an unused community building into a therapy and education center. Friends donated paint. Local businesses contributed furniture. Retired builders offered labor without charging a single cent. Families brought meals for volunteers. The project slowly became more than a renovation. It became proof that ordinary people could accomplish extraordinary things when united by compassion. Serena worked beside him every evening after finishing her hospital shifts. She organized children's activities while construction continued, ensuring every young patient still had somewhere to laugh despite the uncertainty surrounding their treatment. News of the community effort eventually reached local media. Donations arrived from strangers who had never met Rowan or Serena but believed in their mission. Within months, the center opened its doors brighter, larger, and better equipped than anyone had imagined. Watching children race through colorful hallways filled Rowan with a sense of peace he had not experienced in years. Success no longer meant promotions or impressive salaries. It meant seeing frightened parents smile again. One quiet afternoon, as sunlight poured through the center's windows, Mira pulled Rowan aside and admitted she had noticed something beautiful growing between him and Serena. It wasn't built on dramatic romance or impossible promises. It was built on years of quiet kindness finally finding its way home. Rowan realized she was right. The affection he felt wasn't born from attraction alone. It came from witnessing Serena's courage, generosity, patience, and unwavering belief that broken situations could still become beautiful. Months later, after Rowan found a new position leading community-focused architectural projects, he and Serena continued working together to expand therapy services across neighboring towns. Every completed project reminded them that hope is strongest when shared. One crisp autumn afternoon, exactly 1 year after helping Serena move into her townhouse, friends and family gathered in the community garden behind the therapy center. Children whose lives had been touched by the program planted flowers alongside volunteers. Laughter echoed beneath golden trees, and the air carried the comforting scent of fresh earth and blooming roses. There were no extravagant speeches or dramatic surprises. Rowan simply thanked everyone who had believed in a dream that once seemed impossible. Then he turned toward Serena, whose eyes still carried the same quiet warmth he remembered from that unforgettable afternoon. He told her that years ago he had returned a wallet because it felt like the right thing to do. He never imagined that one simple act would one day return to him as friendship, purpose, and the courage to believe happiness was still possible. Serena smiled through tears because she understood that the greatest gifts are often the ones given without expecting anything in return. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who believes in kindness, leave a comment about a small act that changed your life, and subscribe to Heartline Stories. Your support encourages us to keep sharing stories that remind people compassion still exists in this world.